Fine. All right, let's do this. I've been anticipating this though, so let's
Yeah,
get it. Let's get it.
it's been a while.
Mhm. It has. So we're on book two, which is Hide. All right.
Yes.
All right, let's do
I
it.
mean, I've read some of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna start off where we left off. Let's see. So they're kind of just still traversing through the tunnel, and Reed obviously is kind of still, he allowed what's his name to lead actually, and he doesn't really want any really part of leadership anymore now that he, essentially feels like he's killed Drew.
Right.
So survivor's guilt, and he's kind of beating himself up about that, and that seems to be playing into a lot of his decisions and emotions when it comes to um, you know, what he's doing with his the decisions he's making, I should say, rather. So let's do it. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, there we go. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. All right, I'll start here. None of this is your fault, or mine, or Drew's. He reacts to that like she punched him in the stomach. I think that's Layla talking to him.
Mhm.
But before he can say anything, she pushes on. We're just doing the best we can with what they left us with. She looks at him again, stumbles as she does. He instantly catches her, supports her, and lets her go. She smiles at him a little, so much pain in it. He wonders if he will ever forgive himself. If he survives this, that is, he wants to help her, to do what he can to ease her pain. It's important. He knows that. Drew would have wanted him to keep watching over Layla and Milo, would have hated knowing Marcus is in charge. We can almost hear Drew whispering to him to go kick Marcus' butt and take over. But instead, Reed breaks her heart and his own and banishes his friend's voice all with one sentence. First chance I get, I'm leaving you all behind. Elephant.
Dang.
I know, right? Dang. I'm gonna highlight that one. That's a highlight verse right there. So I'm gonna say to y'all. I'm gonna say that's what I'm gonna say to everybody I know. First chance I get, I'm leaving you behind. No, I'm playing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
playing. Like, dang.
Well, shoot.
Oh shoot. Let's see, there we go. Layla snatches from him, the grief in her eyes long enough for him to absorb it and what he's done before she shuts down and completely pulls away. Coward. The word slaps him across the face as if she'd hit him physically. Without looking back, she strides ahead, weaving through the trudging kids and rejoins Marcus in the lead. Reed watches her go, at war inside himself. He sees Marcus mutter something to her, and she shakes her head violently, hand rising to her face. Tears. He's sure of it. Marcus glances back at him. His smirk is worse than her calling Reed a coward. Reed sinks into his own pain and almost runs into the back of one of the kids before he shakes himself loose of his hazy funk and notices they have stopped. He forces himself to pay attention to what's happening up ahead. It takes his troubled mind a few seconds to realize there isn't just one tunnel ahead any longer, but two. At first, he is as stunned by the development as the rest of them, but soon grows impatient as they mill around, their fear growing by the second. Marcus, naturally, does nothing to make them feel any better. He looks as troubled as they do. When he catches Reed watching him, however, his face stiffens up and he turns as though choosing a path at random and walks on. Reed can see some of the kids glancing down the second tunnel and does so himself on the way by. There's no way of knowing if they are going the right way. They are honestly identical. Still, Reed isn't letting Marcus off the hook. There's a simple way of finding out, but if he can't figure it out for himself, Reed isn't about to help him. It's not long before they reach another crossroad. Crossroads. Marcus forges ahead without stopping. Rather than easing the tension in the pack, it seems to make it worse. By the time they encounter the third split and Marcus makes another arbitrary decision, the kids are buzzing softly behind him. Reed sees the dead end when the rest of them do and smirks to himself. Really? There's nothing funny about it. They are trapped underground. No food, no water, lost. It's the furthest from funny he's ever had, aside from being hunted above. And yet, there's something about the absurdity that tweaks his sense of humor. Marcus is scowling when he storms past Reed, who steps aside and lets everyone go. Layla won't meet his eyes, and Milo looks so furious with him, Reed just stays out of the way. He trails them back to the previous crossing and rolls his eyes when Marcus stumps off down the other trail. Surely the arrogant jerk must know by now that they have to have a plan. Reed sighs deeply and follows along. Follows anyway. Another branch, another choice, another dead end. By the time Cole whispers something to Marcus, pointing at his wrist, he is so wound up, he snaps at the skinny kid so loudly, everyone hears him. In fact, Reed is sure the sound carries all the way back to the sealed exit in the forest above. Did I ask your opinion? Cole shrinks back, and this time Reed can't help himself. He slides his way to the front and places himself between the scrawny boy and the furious Marcus. His chocolate eyes burn holes in Reed, but instead of starting a fight, Reed just laughs at him. Marcus is so shocked at first, his jaw drops. By the time he's gathered his anger around him again, it's too late. Reed has everyone's attention. Maybe a break is good. What do you think, Cole? The boy barely nods, blue eyes wide, and smiles at Reed a little. He has to stop letting these kids get to him. Everyone sits immediately, groaning and whispering their fear into the air. Everyone but Reed and Marcus. I'm in charge here. The words are lucky to make it past Marcus's clenched teeth. And I say when we rest and when we move. The mutters stop. Attention fixed, but the fear increases. Not until you stop leading us in circles. Reed crosses his arms over his chest. Or are you somehow using psychic ability to tell you where all the dead ends are? Someone snickers behind Reed, but it is choked off. Still, everyone heard it, including Marcus. A thick vein stands out on the guy's forehead, and he looks like he's about to explode. Reed is right. Layla is beside him without a sound. We need to stop wandering around like we know where we're going and find a better way to do this. Marcus cools a little, and Reed wonders what kind of influence the pale girl has over him. Another trickle of jealousy escapes, germinating in his heart. Reed doesn't have time for it, but it doesn't seem to matter. When he speaks, his voice is rough because of it, but at least it's aimed at Marcus. Reed doesn't want to alienate Layla any further than he already has. Are you going to listen to her or keep being a jerk? Maybe not the best thing to say. Another snicker behind Reed, and this time it's joined by a couple of others. Marcus snarls at Reed, almost ready to attack, but still holding back. Reed finds himself wondering just what it's going to take. Fine, Marcus practically spits his words out. Let's see you do better. Reed already has a plan. His reluctance returns, especially when he sees them all watching him. He's really put his foot in it now and has to follow through. Cole, the boy's right there. Milo, he answers the summons, if a little slowly. Pick one other kid to go with you. Milo, I want you to go back to the original break and check that other tunnel. Watch. Reed holds his hand out. Marcus finally strips it off and throws it at Reed, who catches it easily. He hands it back to Cole. Cole, you take your watch and go into the other tunnel. Give yourself 5 minutes. Milo, you stay at the entrance. And you, Reed points at the skinny girl. Cole chooses. Cole chose. Go with Cole. If you come to any more breaks, you go down the other one. Count bulbs. Of course, brilliant. He knows they are at regular intervals. Go for 10, then stop and turn around. If you meet with another tunnel, stop and turn around. If you hit a dead end, make sure you keep track of where you found it. Layla, Reed turns to her. We need some of we need some kind of way to mark what's open and what's a cave in. She nods slowly, brow furrowed, as she thinks. Okay, go. Milo, Cole, and the girl dash off, back the way they came. The rest of us rest for another minute, then we do the same here. Check this tunnel, three at a time, find the branches and the dead ends counting, light bulbs. Everyone is nodding. Layla is whispering with a boy who gestures a lot with his hands. Marcus is sulking off to one side with his arms crossed over his chest, but Reed ignores him, especially when Layla gestures for him to join her. This is Alex, she says. He has an idea. Chalk. The boy holds up a chunk of white stone in his hands. We can make maps on the walls as we go. He makes a big X, the flaking stuff leaving a clear mark behind. When the kid turns back, he is grinning. See? Reed grins back and wonders how it can be so easy to fall back into this place of caring about people after he swore he was done with it. Great. He feels the pottery rock when Alex proudly drops it in his hand. Good job, kiddo. Alex beams when Layla hugs him to her with one arm. Reed hands it back. You keep track for us, he says. Official path marker, okay? Alex's head bobs, grin still in place, and stays there even when Milo, Cole, and the girl come trotting back. That was quick, Marcus snarls. Marcus snarl gets Reed's attention. So much for your great idea. They didn't even do it. We did, Milo is panting a little as he sprawls on the ground and catches his breath. Just didn't have to go far. Dead end, the girl says. Megan? Reed is pretty sure her name is Megan. Nice work, you guys. Reed stares Marcus down. Now we all move on together. They are a happier group as they forge onward, but Reed allows himself to fall back to the rear again when they do, letting Marcus take the lead once more. Layla shoots him a questioning look, but he waves her on. This time he pays attention to the back trail. He's sure they are alone down here. Positive. Still, if they miss a tunnel or decide to go one way when they should have gone the other and miss something, we can't let that happen. Besides, Marcus doesn't seem willing to be a follower even now. Alex dutifully marches beside Reed, his large chunk of limestone clenched in his hands like it's a gift. For all Reed knows, that's exactly what it is. All right, chapter 3.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So they are currently, uh, I guess, currently they have a plan. I guess Reed, first off, and found himself back in leadership mode, but now they
Mhm.
are, you know, trying to figure out a way to, I guess, essentially, um, try to mark a path in a sense, create a map. I guess like a mental map of where they are, where they're going. And that is crazy in and of itself. They have no food, no water, no nothing. I have no idea where it goes from here. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I don't remember.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
But definitely, like, you think about it, Reed stepping back into leadership. When you are a leader, even
Yep.
if you don't want to,
Yep.
like, it's gonna find you.
Yep. 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 Trust me. I've dealt with it all my life.
Mhm.
I have all my life. I've kind of not wanted it.
Yeah.
There's been moments where I did it. Yeah, it's just like,
Well, it's a lot of responsibility,
yeah,
And that's what Reed understands.
yeah,
And he doesn't necessarily want to take on that responsibility.
exactly. Exactly. But like you said, it kind of calls you.
Well, and especially when somebody who's supposed to be taking charge or who took charge, Marcus in this case,
Yeah.
he's not being a good leader, you know,
Yeah.
because he's just forging ahead with no plan.
Exactly. Exactly.
So then you kind of have to step up.
Yeah. And you can tell a bad leader, like a good leader or a natural leader can tell when there's a forced leader,
Hmm.
when there's someone who's trying to act like a leader
Yeah.
but isn't really.
Yeah.
Like you can tell when you can tell that you can see that.
Well, and honestly, even stepping back again and letting Marcus lead, even after the plan,
Yeah,
is also a sign of like like a good leader too, because he's like, well, I can follow, because this person's not gonna follow.
yeah,
So you're just like, I'll let them be in charge, even though they're not in charge.
yeah, for the sake of peace. But at the end of the day, you know, essentially people at the end of the day, the people decide who they want to lead them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. You can try to be a
Mm-hmm.
leader all you want. You can try to force your way. You can be like, oh, you can try to all that. But at the end of the day, if people don't want you to lead them, then you won't be leading them because they get to decide.
Right.
That's why even the election, when Trump and all that type of stuff, election, like, you know, unless things are rigged, which I'm pretty sure things like that have happened. But
Yeah.
outside of that, you know, you can all day long want someone else to be president, but at the end of the day, if majority of people are voting for somebody, then it's like, all right, that's what y'all wanted. That's what y'all want.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, like, and then you get what you wanted too, right? It's like, all right, this is what you wanted. So,
You
okay,
you get what you get.
you get what you get. Yeah, that's what you wanted. This is what you got. And then you may or may not like that once you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Or things may not be delivered or things like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do think, you know, people should decide who they want to lead them. It's the same thing I believe, with a wife and a husband. Like, if the husband is supposed to be a leader, then I think biblically the aspect of submission isn't you forcing your wife to allow you to lead your family. I think she has to willingly allow you to. You can't make
Yeah.
somebody do it. Can't make somebody do anything.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
You
and
know.
like you have to think about what it biblically says about a man and a wife. Like
Hmm.
the man is supposed to um love his wife like Christ loved the church,
Hmm.
which means that they have to be willing to lay themselves down and be a servant as well, because
Exactly.
and
Yep.
Christ died for us, like as the church.
Yeah.
And then we are meant to submit or, respect our husband just like we respect Christ.
Yeah. But that not being a slave or a perspective of somebody who runs at your every beck and order and like, nah.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing is like that's the point is that Christ died, and so like for the church.
Mm.
So if that's the model of a husband,
Yeah.
like that's not you demanding that respect or you demanding that they're submissive.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's a loving kind.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I was
Do
the
you want
same.
me to read my book?
No, no, no. If you're still enjoying your stuff, I can still keep going if you want.
I have just like a couple more bites of ice cream.
You want to keep going?
You can.
Okay, let's do it. Like I said, I'm curious to see what happens. I'm curious with your book too, but you know, how you just get so sucked in. It's like, what's in these
Mhm.
tunnels?
I know. That is a question. I don't know. Like, did they really get away from the hunters?
Yeah, because if they get hunted down in the dark old tunnels, like there's that's
Or like,
what you say.
yeah. I said, did they really get away from the hunters, or are they now like trapped with them?
That's what I'm saying, Kay. That's what I'm saying. You know, is this like some type of from type stuff where they're at nighttime? It's like I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
it's crazy.
it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, okay, I did actually finish now, so
No, no.
yeah, but you got to a good stopping point.
Yeah, I want to know what's in these tunnels.
Well, I do too.
It's fine.
But it's my turn.
Fine. No, go ahead. You good. You good.
Chapter 4, Turkish Delight. Oh, do you remember what just happened?
Can you give
Kind
me
of,
a
or
yeah, can you give me
do I need a
oh
little?
oh yeah, didn't she like come back? Didn't she go back out of the glass? I mean out of the she like came
Well,
back to the
yeah,
house,
she
right?
went back into the ward. Yeah, she went back into the wardrobe, but well, she went back into the house, and then like she told her brothers and sisters where she was,
Mm-hmm.
and they obviously didn't believe her because they were like, "You were gone for like just seconds,
Yeah.
basically."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so Edmund was like joking around with her, and then now I can't remember who went in the wardrobe first. Um, but now Edmund's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, Edmund's in there with the sister?
yeah, he's in there and he ran into the queen in Narnia.
Oh.
So
Oh, that's where we left off?
that's where we're at, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
So now we're on chapter 4. Edmund is with the queen in Narnia.
Let's do it.
Chapter 4, Turkish Delight. But what are you? Said the queen again. Are you a great overgrown dwarf that has cut off its beard? No, your majesty, said Edmund. I never had a beard. I'm a boy. A boy, said she. Do you mean you are a son of Adam? Edmund stood still, saying nothing. He was too confused by this time to understand what the question meant. I see you are an idiot, whatever else you may be, said the queen. Answer me once and for all, or I shall lose my patience. Are you human? Yes, your majesty, said Edmund. And how, pray, did you come to enter my dominions? Please, your majesty, I came in through a wardrobe. A wardrobe? What do you mean? Uh, uh, I opened a door and just found myself here, your majesty, said Edmund. Huh, said the queen, speaking more to herself than to him. A door from the world of men. I have heard of such things. This may wreck all, but he is only one, and he is easily dealt with. As she spoke these words, she rose from her seat and looked Edmund full in the face, her eyes flaming. At the same moment, she raised her wand. Edmund felt sure that she was going to do something dreadful, but he seemed unable to move. Then, just as he gave himself up for lost, she appeared to change her mind. My poor child, she said in quite a different voice, how cold you look. Come and sit with me here on the sledge, and I will put my mantle around you, and we will talk. Edmund did not like this arrangement at all, but he dared not disobey. He stepped onto the sledge and sat at her feet, and she put a fold of her fur mantle around him and tucked it well in. Perhaps something hot to drink? Said the queen. Should you like that? Yes, please, your majesty, said Edmund, whose teeth were chattering. The queen took from somewhere among her wrappings a very small bottle which looked as if it were made of copper. Then, holding out her arm, she let one drop fall from it on the snow beside the sledge. Edmund saw the drop for a second in mid-air, shining like a diamond. But the moment it touched the snow, there was a hissing sound, and there stood a jeweled cup full of something that steamed. The dwarf immediately took this and handed it to Edmund, with a bow and a smile. Not a very nice smile. Edmund felt much better as he began to sip the hot drink. It was something he had never tasted before, very sweet and foamy and creamy, and it warmed him right down to his toes. It is dull, son of Adam, to drink without eating, said the queen presently. What would you like best to eat? Turkish delight, please, your majesty, said Edmund. The queen let another drop fall from her bottle on to the snow, and instantly there appeared a round box tied with green silk ribbon, which was opened, turned out to contain several pounds of the best Turkish delight. Each piece was sweet and light to the very center, and Edmund had never tasted anything more delicious. He was quite warm now, and very comfortable. Do you want to see the picture?
Yes.
Yes. Let's see. So there's the dwarf with the drink.
Wait, what kind of drink was it?
It was just a hot drink. I imagine hot chocolate, but I don't know.
Mm. But I don't remember the dwarf in the movie.
There is a dwarf in the movie, yeah.
Oh, there is. They
You
were on the
remember?
sleigh. They were on the sleigh with the.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in
Okay,
this thing.
they were on the sleigh. Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. While he was eating, the queen kept asking him questions. At first, Edmund tried to remember that it is rude to speak with one's mouth full, but soon he forgot about this and thought only of trying to shovel down as much Turkish delight as he could. And the more he ate, the more he wanted to eat. And he never asked himself why the queen should be so inquisitive. She got him to tell her that he had one brother and two sisters, and that one of his sisters had already been in Narnia and had met a fawn there, and that no one except himself and his brothers and his sisters knew anything about Narnia. She seemed especially interested in the fact that there were four of them, and kept on coming back to it. You are sure there are just four of you? She asked. Two sons of Adam and two daughters of Eve? Neither more nor less? And Edmund, with his mouth full of Turkish delight, kept on saying, Yes, I told you that before, and forgetting to call her Your Majesty, but she didn't seem to mind now. And at last the Turkish delight was all finished, and Edmund was looking very hard at the empty box and wishing that she would ask him whether he would like some more. Probably the queen knew quite well what he was thinking, for she knew, though Edmund did not, that this was enchanted Turkish delight, and that anyone who had once tasted it would want more and more of it, and would even, if they were allowed, go on eating it till they killed themselves. But she did not offer him any more.
Oh, did you freeze?
Um, I don't, it just like kicked me out and then brought me back. So I don't
What
know.
the?
It was weird.
Okay, you're good now. I can see you now. Okay. Whoa.
I turned off my camera.
Oh, okay. I was like, did you go? Okay.
That was me.
Gotcha. No, no, you good.
I really just turned it on so you could see the picture.
Yeah, you can keep it on or off, whichever you like, whichever was more comfortable for you.
All right. Um, okay. What part did you hear last before it was
So
weird?
I know you mentioned that. I think I heard the phrase of the words delight.
Okay. I'll just read this paragraph over again.
Okay.
At last, the Turkish delight was all finished, and Edmund was looking very hard at the empty box and wishing that she would ask him whether he would like some more. Probably the Queen knew quite well what he was thinking, for she knew, though Edmund did not, that this was enchanted Turkish delight, that anyone who had once tasted it would want more and more of it, and would even, if they were allowed, go on eating it till they killed themselves. But she did not offer him any more. Instead, she said to him, "Son of Adam, I should so much like to see your brother and your two sisters. Will you bring them to see me?"
Why did she keep calling him son of Adam?
That's just what she calls. That's what they call the humans.
Okay, God, and I guess that's just hitting back to the reference that the writer of this story was Christian.
Yeah, Adam
Gotcha,
and Eve. No.
gotcha. Yep.
I'll try, said Edmund, still looking at the empty box. Because if you did come again, bringing them with you, of course, I'd be able to give you some more Turkish delight. I can't do it now. The magic will only work once. In my own house, it would be another matter. Why can't we go to your house now? Said Edmund. When he had first got onto the sledge, he had been afraid that she might drive away with him to some unknown place from which he would not be able to get back, but he had forgotten about that fear now. "It is a lovely place, my house," said the Queen. "I am sure you would like it. There are whole rooms full of Turkish delight, and what's more, I have no children of my own. I want a nice boy whom I could bring up as a prince, and who would be king of Narnia when I am gone. While he was prince, he would wear a gold crown and eat Turkish delight all day long. And you are much the cleverest and handsomest young man I've ever met. I think I would like to make you the prince some day, when you bring the others to visit me." "Why not now?" said Edmund. His face had become very red, and his mouth and fingers were sticky. He did not look either clever or handsome, whatever the Queen might say. "Oh, but if I took you there now," said she, "I shouldn't see your brother and your sisters. I very much want to know your charming relations. You are to be the prince, and later on the king. That is understood. But you must have courtiers and nobles. I will make your brother a duke, and your sisters duchesses." "There's nothing special about them," said Edmund. "And anyway, I could always bring them some other time." "Ah, but once you are in my house," said the Queen, "you might forget all about them. You would be enjoying yourself so much that you wouldn't want the bother of going to fetch them. No, you must go back to your own country now and come to me another day with them, you understand? It is no good coming without them." "But I don't even know the way back to my own country," pleaded Edmund. "That's easy," answered the Queen. "Do you see that lamp?" She pointed with her wand, and Edmund turned and saw the same lamp post under which Lucy had met the fawn. "Straight on beyond that is the way to the world of men. And now look the other way." Here she pointed in the opposite direction. "And tell me if you can see two little hills rising above the trees." "I think I can," said Edmund. "Well, my house is between those two hills. So next time you come, you have only to find the lamp post, look for those two hills and walk through the wood till you reach my house. But remember, you must bring the others with you. I might have to be very angry with you if you come alone. I'll do my best, said Edmund. And by the way, said the Queen, you needn't tell them about me. It would be fun to keep it a secret between us two, wouldn't it? Make it a surprise for them. Just bring them along to the two hills. A clever boy like you will easily think of some excuse for doing that. And when you come to my house, you could just say, let's see who lives here, or something like that. I am sure that would be best. If your sister has met one of the fawns, she may have heard strange stories about me, nasty stories that might make her afraid to come to me. Fawns will say anything, you know. And now, please, please, said Edmund suddenly, please, couldn't I just have one piece of Turkish delight to eat on the way home? No, no, said the Queen with a laugh. You must wait.
Dang.
You
Hmm.
must wait till next time. While she spoke, she signaled to the dwarf to drive on. But as the sledge swept away out of sight, the Queen waved to Edmund, calling out, next time, don't forget. Come soon. Edmund was still staring after the sledge when he heard someone calling his own name, and looking round, he saw Lucy coming towards him from another part of the wood. Oh, Edmund, she cried. So you've got in too. Isn't it wonderful? And now? All right, said Edmund. I see you were right, and it is a magic wardrobe after all. I'll say I'm sorry if you like, but where on earth have you been all this time? I've been looking for you everywhere. If I'd known you had got in, I'd have waited for you, said Lucy, who was too happy and excited to notice how snappishly Edmund spoke or how flushed and strange his face was. I've been having lunch with dear Mr. Tumnus, the fawn, and he is very well, and the White Witch has done nothing to him for letting me go, so he thinks she can't have found out, and perhaps everything's going to be all right after all. The White Witch, said Edmund. Who's she? She's a perfectly terrible person, said Lucy. She calls herself the Queen of Narnia, though she has no right to be queen at all. And all the fauns and dryads and naiads and dwarfs and animals, at least all the good ones, simply hate her. And she can turn people into stone and do all kinds of horrible things. And she has made a magic so that it is always winter in Narnia, always winter, but it never gets to Christmas. She drives about on a sledge drawn by reindeer, with her wand in her hand and a crown on her head. Edmund was already feeling uncomfortable from having eaten too many sweets. When he heard that the lady he had made friends with was a dangerous witch, he felt even more uncomfortable. But he still wanted to taste that Turkish delight again, more than he wanted anything else. Who told you all that stuff about the White Witch? He asked. Mr. Tumnus the Fawn, said Lucy. You can't always believe what fawns say, said Edmund, trying to sound as if he knew far more about them than Lucy. Who said so? Asked Lucy. Everyone knows it, said Edmund. Ask anybody you like. But it's pretty poor sport standing here in the snow. Let's go home. Yes, let's, said Lucy. Oh, Edmund, I am glad you've got in too. The others will have to believe in Narnia now that both of us have been there. What fun it will be! But Edmund secretly thought that it would not be as good fun for him as for her. He would have to admit that Lucy had been right before all the others, and he felt sure the others would all be on the side of the fawns and the animals, but he was already more than half on the side of the witch. He did not know what he would say, or how he would keep the secret once they were all talking about Narnia. By this time, they had walked a good way, then suddenly they felt coats around them instead of branches, and the next moment they were both standing outside the wardrobe in the empty room. I say, said Lucy, you do look awful, Edmund. Don't you feel well? I'm all right, said Edmund. But this was not true. He was feeling very sick. Come on then, said Lucy. Let's find the others. What a lot we shall have to tell them. And what wonderful adventures we shall have now that we're all in it together. That was the end of chapter 4.
Wow. So they're kind of all in there now.
Well, yeah. I mean, they haven't gotten to tell Peter and Susan yet,
Mm.
but Edmund knows and Lucy knows.
Yeah. Lucy's the youngest, the little girl.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Lucy's the youngest.
Okay. All right. Let me pause this.